There may be a question or two on the English section where the underlined word is grammatically correct but incorrect because it's not logical. The exam is likely to include a check of your understanding of idioms. Idioms include odd expressions like driving me up a wall and rain check, as well as simple ones like bring up, meaning raise. Idiom questions on the English test ask you to identify the correct prepositions used in certain expressions. There's not a set of rules to follow for figuring out what's correct. In the case of idioms, it's best to choose the answer that sounds right. It's unlikely that there'll be more than one or two idioms on the ACT exam, but let's look at a couple charts in the classroom with common idioms. Okay, here are those two charts I was talking about with common idioms that might show up on the ACT College Entrance exam. Within these figures of speech, you'll notice there's a few words, not just the one. And in these phrases, starting out with accused of, you're accused of doing something. You're not accused in. So what I want to point out is that second word, typically your preposition. That might be the one that's changing within. And they're wondering whether or not you know these relatively common figures of speech and can use them properly. So looking at this first line, you arrive at places, you compare things to one another, you count on things. As a phrase itself, count on, you can see where it's kind of nonsensical when you really think about it. You're not standing on top of something while counting it. But a phrase that we have in everyday English, you depend on things similarly. You're in charge of, you insist upon, you stared at. So just go ahead, take a few moments, look at those idioms. They can be downloaded off of the website. See if any of them seem to be unfamiliar to you and concentrate on that. Let me flip to the next page of that chart. Someone can be all thumbs. A cat got your tongue, meaning you're at a loss for words, right? You cough up things, not literally. These are more figures of speech that we have in everyday vernacular. Wondering if you're familiar with them is what the test might be doing. Like I said, one or two questions tops. Drive someone up a wall. Something is fishy. It's not right. There's something wrong with it. You may annoy someone to the point where you get in someone's hair. You get into the swing of things. So once again, just look over this list, see what you're comfortable with and what you're not. Give it a little bit of pause. Hey, every question counts. So that one or two that show up that has something to do with idioms, might as well get it right. Remember, make sure the preposition after the idiom makes sense when evaluating idioms. And there's probably only going to be one or two on the whole ACT English exam.